Go.
Hello. Try and see if this is any better. Is that a better picture?
Yeah, you're beautiful no matter what.
I can't argue with you. You know you're right.
You're just a handsome man. You know what I mean? You just
It's a gift,
it's
blessed
not
by the Lord Himself.
it's not bragging. It's
No,
you know,
yeah, it's just complete stupidity.
there you go.
Are we
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, we're on, but
Are we
nobody's
in
in the
yet?
feed yet.
Oh
So
well.
there may be nobody in the feed. So I advertised it last week and I put a blurb this morning, but I didn't do anything over the weekend because I was busy over the weekend. So we may just be alone.
Hey, I'm happy to be in your company. That'll do for me.
Hey,
We got a prisoner?
yeah, we got a couple popping up. Can you see them?
No, not yet. What am I on? Let me see. Private chat. Let me go to comments.
Hey, y'all.
Yes. Oh gosh, there are the comment. Kathleen's there. Philip.
Thanks
BD8.
for
And
thanks
that
for joining us.
that
And
fella StreamYard's there every week first.
yeah, hey Kathleen. And funny story. I had talked to Stephen this morning to make sure that this was going to work, and he said, "Yeah, yeah." And then we started talking about the times, and we realized he's still on daylight savings time. So he would have been an hour late to the video. And then last thing we talked about was him coming on at 6 o'clock. And it's actually 4 o'clock his time in England. So I usually he pops in a half hour prior, and he didn't. So I called him up, and he was kind of in the middle of working on his axe. So he didn't realize he had to. I only gave him 10 minutes to get on. But thanks, Stephen, for, you know, coming
It's
on spontaneously.
my pleasure. I wouldn't have missed it. It means you get to eat at the right time. That's good.
So show us that axe you were working on. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
I bought myself a new little small axe for camping this summer. But I had bought this wee one. Here it is now. This is the finished object. This was battered and bruised. I had to whatever you call it, rehandle it.
Uh-huh.
But when I cut the old handle off here, um, it was beautiful. The wood inside was lovely, but it was rotten at the top. So I thought, well, I only want this is just for breaking up kindling, for small fires in
Right.
my firebox. I don't need a big axe. It's
Yeah.
not for chopping down trees. So I'm quite happy with the handle. It came out really well. It was dark brown. It's years old. I bought it at a car boot sale, I think for about 50p or a pound. The head was all rusty. I mean, it was just, and it came up a treat today. I've got rehashed it and put a little wedge in there at the top. I'd never done that before, so I enjoyed doing that.
It looks like you resharpened it too.
Yes, oh, definitely resharpened it. Yeah, it was all chipped, and it had been lying in a box. It was one of those boxes you get at a car boot sale. That's just,
Yeah.
it was all scrap, and he wanted nothing. He was just getting rid of his junk.
So you used your sander?
I used my little sander to do the sharpening. I used just wee pads like emery pads to take the rust off the blade, and then
Right.
I used the emery pads also to do the handle. And look at that! It is just beautiful. I have a
It is.
picture on my phone, but it was just dark brown like most axes until I done it. So she's now had. I've got beeswax all over it, and the hatchet itself. And I also, I don't know whether I've done right here. Maybe people could answer me. I put a drop of mineral oil on the top of it and let it soak down in, just to give the wood a bit of juice again because it was so dry.
Yeah.
So I got it in and then I poured it in afterwards. I just held the cloth here and it sucked it up. So was that the right thing to do? I've never done an axe.
Yeah, any kind of oil really.
Yeah.
Shoot, I forget the oil I use. It's a oil you use on furniture.
Right. Yeah.
Can't remember what that is, but yeah. So I had a really cool weekend. If any of y'all saw that post, I went to a fort, and what was really cool was they they had reenactors, and just popped up my collection there. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But yeah, it was so cool, the reenactor stuff. And inside they had artifacts they dug out from the fort. And so there were folding knives there from 1756. And it was just so cool. That's not what I wanted to do. There you go. Yeah, it was so cool looking at those old folding knives and all the other stuff. But Stephen, you were talking to me about how collecting these old vintage knives are affordable, and that's what I've found, and so when you look at this collection, there's about 75 there, a bunch of different kind of knives and companies. But the most expensive knife in sitting on the table was only $85. And that was this one right here. It's an old E.C. Simmons. Beautiful stag on that.
That's lickable. That is just gorgeous.
And look at the old, this is what I was trying to tell you. See,
yeah,
it's
I love
kind
the
of
old
like that
spear.
old style that pops up here almost like a saddle horn.
It's beautiful.
And it's got the old style pin blade, spear blade on it. See how thin that spear blade is?
But they're just gorgeous though, aren't they? I mean, there's plenty of life left in that. It'll do you your day.
Oh yeah.
But they're just so, I don't know, they're very gentlemanly compared to today's modern blades that really don't, to me, have a lot of shape and style. Now, there is some companies that do the swedging, and some people don't like the swedging, but I'm one for long pulls and swedges. I absolutely love.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're done well.
Right. Howdy, Kingfisher. Thanks, Philip. So if there's a knife here you guys want to see or a question you have, this is what it's all about. Is just showing it all to you, but I'll go through it also. So
how long, Michael, have you been collecting the old vintage knives? Is that something been a lifelong thing, or
10 years?
10 years. We're not far off it. I'm about 8 years, 9 years, well, about 9 years probably.
Mm-hmm.
But I started very slowly, and it wasn't on old traditionals. It was modern knives that got me into knives again, because for years I hadn't really used knives. So I'd always had a pen knife, but I didn't have any more than one, if that makes any sense.
I never used to carry them till a couple years ago. But
yeah.
Hey, Radar, how you doing this morning, brother? We're going to be looking at the collection today. I'm glad that you could join us. It's going to be a quick video, only about an hour for you guys. And this is what we're looking at here today. I got high tech.
It's absolutely fantastic.
So I figured out how to show something else on the screen besides my ugly face. So, yeah.
And anytime you can get that off the screen, I'm all with you. Get it off.
I think you're beautiful, Stephen. If I wasn't married, I might pursue you.
Oh, well, yeah, too, but you're only human. You've got breath, so I can't blame you.
Yeah. So have you got any knives recently?
No, I've not been buying knives, to be honest with you. I'm sort of I'm trying the old thing for being a collector and especially being a YouTuber, this urge to keep buying knives for my subscribers. When I've gone through periods like this, and I've never lost a subscriber whenever I wasn't buying knives, if that makes any sense, because I can always make up a video. And I love just making up something when I'm sitting there. Sometimes I just throw 20 or 30 knives on the table and then think of a topic with what I see and maybe
Right.
pick out 2, 3, 4. Like yesterday's one, totally spontaneous. There were just knives on the table, and I thought, oh, that would make a video.
That
And
was a good
sometimes
video. I enjoyed that.
I find that just doing that makes the video more interesting
Yeah.
because it's in your head and you don't have to do research. You're just doing it.
Hey, Kirby Creek,
cool.
this is not spontaneous. We do it about every 2 weeks. I think we're going to start doing it every 2 weeks. We used to do it every 20 days, the live show, but we're going to go to every 2 weeks. And today we're talking about my collection. Let me see if I can put it up again right there. We'll be talking about those knives.
And it's all secondhand knives, isn't it, that we're going to touch today? You know, where you get them from, how do you know how much they're worth? And because it's a good minefield because you're generally getting cheaper knives than going and buying brand new ones and chasing a fad.
Well, the crazy thing is let me click on Solo here. You look at this knife here. It's an E.C. Simmons Wharncliffe Whittler. And so Whittlers are very expensive knives. This knife is in really good shape. You can see the color there on this. Just absolutely gorgeous mother of pearl on this knife. It's about 3.5 inches. It's a pretty big Whittler. It's highly collectible, E.C. Simmons. And I paid $20 for this.
Oh, that was a steal.
Look, it's just, look at the blade on it. So it's got a lot of the geometry left on its blade. And you can, it's really patience. So I was telling you this morning, Stephen, about a case I just bought for $60 in mint condition. I think it dated 1988, but it's a special edition case, and it's a model they quit making in 1940. So it's just about patience and looking, but you can find beautiful knives like these for very inexpensive. Look at the blade on that.
That's brand new.
Yeah, it's like brand new, beautiful pen knife, mother of pearl. You can hear the walk and talk on it. And these things are built fantastically.
Yeah.
I just love the build quality on these old knives. Now, you will see gaps on them, but a lot of that's from people use, right?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
The use that people put them through. So what about you all? The see any knife here that you're interested in looking at? This is a Hibbert, Spencer, and Bartlett.
That is just gorgeous. I know that's the back tang there sticks up. Is that the blade or the tang? Is it just the blade?
This is a punch that's sticking out.
Right. Punch. Look at that beautiful punch. Isn't
beautiful that Coca-Cola? The blade is worn on this quite a bit. It's an easy pull, but not too bad.
Did you see the one I done of Randy's that he sent me to fix?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I have not, and I know people are going to laugh, but I used this. I'll show you a picture later when we come up, but it's like a toothpick. But I got an edge on it and it cuts and I use it. It's just one of those things. I love the older knives.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I've got it here in front of me. Yeah.
Go ahead, show that to us.
This is what Randy Toth sent me to sharpen.
Yeah.
It really is. This camera's making it look awful big. Now, the pen blade is all right, but this is just, I would say, half the size it started out. Can you see that? I mean, the handles, this person who used it, the handles are worn away.
Yeah.
Use. And that makes it even more special. This was I think this was a K-bar, actually. Yeah, I think this was a K-bar.
That's a beautiful K-bar.
It was sent, and Randy dared me to, and especially this blade, he wanted to see if I could get it sharpened. And look, let me tell you, it is no beauty queen. I just got it sharpened.
Yeah.
But again, it's in my collection, and the fact that Randy sent it to me makes it very special.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
I mean, none of these knives are a lot of them, they're not valuable as such. And this is one point that I want to touch on. I don't know whether it's the same in the States, but on Etsy over here, where we get most of our secondhand knives,
Mm-hmm.
they automatically think old is expensive. And it's
Yeah.
something you have to be very wary of, because being old doesn't always mean that it's going to be expensive. And in fact, most of the time it's not going to be expensive, because they're knives that are out there in their millions. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one thing that I had to learn myself. I paid too much for some knives in the beginning when I was going on Etsy, because I had no idea. But now, with especially YouTube or whatever, or joining one of the groups on YouTube that does older knives, you can always put your knife up and say, "Could somebody give me an age and a price for it?" And
Yeah.
people are really willing to help you. And I use that. I still do use it today. If there's something special that I think is good, I would ring. I'd ring Michael now and just say, "What do you think this is?" And yeah, I mean, and again, when you're getting stung on the secondhand market, it's not as painful as getting stung on a modern knives, which are usually an awful lot more.
Yeah. A lot of times who's selling on Etsy and eBay are antique dealers,
Yeah.
and they can just be astronomical. I've seen knives who have a true value of $40 trying to be sold for $600
Yeah.
on eBay, and that comes from a antique dealer who doesn't know anything about knives. So yeah, it can be frustrating, but patience is a virtue, and if
But
you just stick with it and look for what you want, you're going to find some really nice knives.
what me and Justin have been talking about this too, because he started buying in the secondhand market because he doesn't want to keep up with the trend. Now, if you want to keep up with the trend, all well and good. It's great. I done it for a time. I
Yeah,
just couldn't afford to do it, so I had to stop. But I mean, you can barter on Etsy and eBay, and that's the thing that I've started doing much, much more now, is bartering for the price. If
oh
it's been
yeah,
up there for months, I'm not going to give him the same price that he's asking for, because it's not worth it.
yeah.
Otherwise, somebody would have bought it. So
I
don't be
do a
afraid.
lot of that on eBay, so I don't use Etsy too much, but
Uh,
uh, I do. I'll offer a fair price to them,
yeah.
and I'm fair. I'm not ridiculous. I know
Uh,
what
well,
knives, the value knives, what they are. But so let's look at these knives again. Oh, six gun slinging, yay!
I
Love
bet.
watching your videos, brother.
Yeah, and I need to give you a phone call again too. I've been a bad boy. I've been missing in action, but I
Let's look,
do that quite regular. I just go off on my wee tangent.
let's look at these knives again. So I'm gonna go through this real quick. There's about 75 knives on the table, somewhere like that, and all of those were in one drawer. So I try to keep my collection in a uh,
Have you
uh,
got any Bokers there?
I got a ton of them from here all the way down, up here all the way down are all Bokers. This little one right here is not very impressive, but it's from the 1800s. I think maybe 1880. This one here is from the early 19th century. Very old Boker. I think I
Uh-huh.
showed this before. You'll love that.
I love it. Yeah, I've
But
got one very similar to that.
the bone is just awesome on this, and it's actually in really good shape. So there's the blade on it.
It's in absolutely beautiful shape.
And this one is just natural bone. It's a little lobster. So you get a blade here and a blade up here. But it's a really old Boker. And
That is lovely.
and these here are from the 40s. This is a Valley Forge Boker right here. Just beautiful bone on that thing. Look at the back on it.
It is lovely. And I like the fact that Boker, and that's a wee surprise sometimes you get with a big company like Boker. They made knives for other of the top companies about at the time, especially when they were in America.
They did, and this is a bridge cutlery. So this is made by Boker in 30s or 40s, and it's not into. It's pretty worn, but it is made by Boker.
But yeah, I don't know whether you're a fantasist. Now, and I mean this in a nice way. When I get an old knife in my hand and I just sit and I'll just sit and stroke it, I'll open it, I'll rub the blades. I try to think of the person that had it before. What was he using it for? Was it a pleasure knife? Was it a work knife? Or was it an essential part of his, And I just love thinking about who had it before. And you can probably tell an awful lot about the person who had it before due to the wear.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I mean, a lot of people don't really use their knives very much, and a lot of these old knives are in really good shape because of that. I look at one thing is I want to have 6 pictures, so I want to see a picture of the knife with the mark side, with the pile side. I want to see the back of the knife. I want to see the top of the knife, and then I want to see a picture of the knife with the blade open, and then the opposite side of the blade. So minimum of 6 pictures. And if you can get a good look at these knives, you can be sure that they're in fairly good condition when you buy them. And that's another thing that's a key if you're buying on second hand. This is a really cool one here. This is a German Providence. Not the Colonial Providence. This is a German Providence company. Their knives came in from the 1890s to the 1920. And that's just so cool right there.
That is a beautiful knife.
And it's in super shape. So a lot of times these type bolsters will be broke, but the bolsters are perfect. And this is a locking knife, so this blade is locked.
Yeah.
And what you do is you press down on this to release
I've been looking for one of them for ages. I just haven't come across one yet.
Yeah, you can still get them. There are companies who still make those. This does have a little piece of boneness in here, but I'm going to eventually repair that. Just put some resin in there to repair it. But it's absolutely phenomenal, the knives that you can get. This is
I love the old brass ones.
Weston German, another German knife, really well made, in fantastic shape.
I'm sort of lifting knives as you're going along there in my own collection, which are
one you want to show?
Well, yeah, I got a couple here just that go along with what you had. Oh, I'll tell you what, my hands haven't been used to doing physical work for a while. I really had to do a lot of scrubbing today, and my fingers are done. Yes, I was going to say Boker's. I got this one last year, and it's a 2-bladed Barlow. But you can guess why I like it.
Yeah.
And look at the amount of blades left on that.
I've been looking for one like that.
But here, let me tell you, and this is why I got it for buttons. If you look at the top end there, can you see that now? Let me just see.
Yes.
It's as if somebody dropped it. It's off shape. It's out of shape at the top there.
Uh-huh.
But the knife works perfectly. There's no problem with it.
So what I do is where your blade channel is there, if that bolster is leaning into that, I'll just take a screwdriver and try to move it over a little, because sometimes you can do that. You don't want to put too much pressure on that, because you'll you can pop the bolster. But
it's bent right down. It comes at a real angle. So I'm not.
Oh, the whole thing's bent.
Yeah, it's as if somebody had run over it by a car or something.
Yeah.
But It really does genuinely. The only thing that doesn't work is the secondary blade. It opens up all right and holds there, but it has next to no closure on it. Sorry, I didn't show that. It is next to no closure on it, but it's a wee pen blade. I just push it down, and I carry this regularly. I just love the old bone on it.
Mm-hmm.
Really is old saw cut bone. And then the other thing you were talking about was Bokers, and again we were talking there about things you like. This is a Russell Barlow, which is made by Boker. It is a beautiful, smooth red bone, like a black curranty look. Just a gorgeous knife. Absolutely love it. And there is the Russell Barlow arrow on this. Can't really get it to show it. No, I'm not going to get it to show it. You can't see it. It's very faint. But it's the Russell Barlow. Oh, it's not on that side. That's why I couldn't see it. There it is. You've got the Russell Barlow on the bolster. Beautiful.
So I've got an original one. Let me show you that. This is my original, probably dates the 1920s. Russell quit making these during World War I. Then they started up again briefly. And in World War II, they quit and never started making them again. That is an original Russell Barlow. Look how these are the same color, but
just
the other one's just black from holding. And then you can't see the tang, but
yeah. And Russell Barlow must have used quite a few different companies, because I have another one. Because I have another one that's made by Schrade for Russell
you might
Barlow.
be able to see that tang. That's the original. This is a nice pruner from Russell. And this one's kind of unusual. You don't see too many of these. It's just a single blade jack.
Lovely boy's knife.
You don't see too many of those.
Who makes that?
Russell. That's a
Russell. Oh, very good.
Genuine Russell Barlow. Or not a Barlow. It's a regular jack.
Yeah, it's fun. We could put a stack of knives up there, and between the two of us, well, I've got a few, you've got a stack, but we still haven't come across an exact double yet. And that's the nice thing about it. There's so many different patterns out there made by so many different companies. You're never stuck for finding something new.
This is an H&B. Look at the bolster on that, how it's checkered. It's a sway back. Cast steel. One of the cast steel ones.
I don't know where mine is. Oh, there. Yeah, I've got a George Wilson home cast. I think it.
Yeah, he made them.
I
love the H&B there.
Yes. Oh,
wonderful walk and talk on that. This is a Puma. The only Puma I own because they're so expensive.
Yeah.
I didn't pay a lot for this, but it has can see somebody ground the blade. But I'll straighten that out eventually. It'll look fine. You got yours?
Yeah, I've got a couple here that were sort of similar. This is a Parker, the old brass one with a nag head,
yeah.
Which is a really lovely little small fifth blade in great condition. I think £10 a ped for that. And I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's a cracking little penknife.
Yeah.
It really is. And I got the other Russell I have was made by Schrade.
Mm-hmm.
I love this Delrin. It just looks beautiful.
Those are really nice knives. So that was a 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
And it was approved by Russell. And Schrade made, I think, 2,000 of them.
Right.
And they're really nice knives.
And there's another the dime knife, as they would have called it, because that's what they cost to buy. I haven't cleaned this up yet. I'm going to take a wee bit of that off, but it's just a lovely old knife. So thin And I mean, I would carry it. If I clean, I'll clean it up a wee bit and maybe start carrying it. I cleaned the handle up, if you like.
Yeah,
Beautiful knife. This was from Mr. DeMarco on YouTube.
that's
Sent
really
me that.
cool.
Lovely knife.
Yeah, six gun slinging. I'd like to get some more Pumas. It just, man, they're so expensive. I don't think they're worth it.
No.
I think they're a good knife, but I don't find like they're. I don't think they're worth $200.
No.
So that's just my opinion, but that's the problem I have for pulling the trigger on big dollars on those Puma knives.
Yeah.
They're basically like any other knife coming in from Germany in the 70s. They're well made, you know.
Well, I had the opposite. I bought one at quite a dear price, probably about a year ago. And to be honest, the fit and finish on it was not good. And I paid way more than what I should have done for it. And I took a bath. I took a bath when I sold it just to get rid of it because I couldn't get rid of it.
This one here, this is one I just got. I love this.
Oh, that's
lizard skin case. Man, I don't know why, but that just kind of grabs you. And they're all different. Some have like crust on the ridges there. I was hoping to get one of those, but I like the burn here.
Yeah, I do. It's a nice color.
I've got another one coming. I bought a Sodbuster Junior, but you know, the I don't know. So when I bought that knife, it was in stock, marked in stock, because I don't buy knives and get them later. I want my knife right now. So I bought it last Friday. It didn't come. So I called them and they said, yeah, we're waiting to get some in. I said, hey, that was in stock when I bought it. So I don't know what happened there, but they messed me over. Yeah, you like those lizard skins, Radar. They are fantastic. Let's look at the collection again. Let's go solo. Oh, this is fun.
Has anybody in the talk box there? Have you ever got a good bargain off one of the websites that sell secondhand knives? And do any of you actually join Facebook groups? Because that's another place where I've bought an awful lot of my secondhand knife is Facebook groups that deal with antique knives. And they're out there. You just have to have a hunt and find them. They're all out there. And you pick which one suits you. There's no point somebody giving you one. You need to find the one that suits you and people you can trust. And that's a great way of buying.
Yeah, I got a Robinson Jumbo knife, really rare that way. I traded a guy for a farmer's knife, which it was the only farmer's knife I had. And I kind of regret it now because I'm still looking for a farmer's knife. But this is a really unusual knife right here. This is a genuine Northfield with very unusual caramel coloring on the bone. I don't know whether somebody redid that or what, but it's an old knife. It's a Northfield, old Northfield. Really nice walk and talk on it.
When you say Northfield, not GEC, is it?
That's not a GEC, okay? So
who was Northfield then?
It's a separate company, but GEC. I don't think GEC owns the rights to the name. A lot of companies have made Northfield knives. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think they own the trademark. It's just that the company went out of business, so it's up there, right?
Right.
Who's going to sue them for trademark infringement?
Yeah.
So it's a GEC's premium knife
brand.
but that's an original from the 1800s.
Gosh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I like odd ones like that. I've got one of the Dave Shirley. I don't know if you heard of him. Have you? He used to
No,
own. He owned Northwoods, which was then when he sold it to Derek Bone, and he really set up with GEC and got them to make the Northwoods, which are like hen's teeth to buy. They're just a nightmare. They're so expensive. They'll go up on sale, and they don't make many of them because it's just a one batch they get made, and they're going for £300-400 after they go up. You know, there's a Northwoods there,
yeah,
but in the second-hand market, you can make a fortune on them if that's your wish. I don't wish. I've got one, and it's all right, but I managed to get this one, and I've never seen another on YouTube, and I don't understand why, because this was Dave Shirley who owned it before Derek Bone did.
what
And
blanket?
there you go. This is an original. That he was the original one that set up Northwoods.
Yeah,
Derek
is that
owned,
knife ship pre knife?
yeah.
Yeah, so knife ship pre.
Is it
You did
Knife Ship?
Northwoods. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's knife ship pre.
yeah,
Set those up, and that was their premium knife brand from Knife
yeah,
Ship Free, and they had GEC make those.
yeah. Right.
They're made by GEC. They're hard to
Uh,
find.
but these ones, for when Dave Shirley owned Northwoods, he was the original owner of Northwoods and the Shield. He got Queen to make them.
Yeah,
This was when the owner of Queen, or not the owner of Queen, when the owner of GEC was the head man at Queen. And you can tell by this knife, it is immaculate. Absolutely immaculate. I got this brand new old stock for a really reasonable price on one of my Facebook groups.
yeah,
And I snapped his fingers off. It's beautiful.
they were really affordable when they first came out. Cheeto, what blanket are you talking about? Oh, the blanket where the knives are. Yeah. So
I
Cheeto's
must have a
like,
blanket.
Cheeto wants my blanket. Yeah, we might be able to set up a trade. So let's show the blanket again.
Just get the peace pipe and sit around the table.
Yeah, I like that blanket. I like it a lot. It's really soft. It's just one of those throw blankets.
I'm stepping out of this conversation. Men talking about blankets, that's not a good look.
Yeah, you know, blankets are important.
Oh, there's Six Gunslinging saying Hard Catlin and his brother started Northfield Knives originally. It's not a name I know, but it's really nice to know it. Did you know that yourself, Michael?
I don't recall it. So I have 168 knife companies, right, in my collection.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I research them, and it's just hard to keep in your brain housing group. Big E, hey, what's up?
Big E.
Yeah, Big E.
Boy, that man has some collection of case knives.
Yeah. He's got it going on. Yeah, BDH, that's really cool. I'm still looking for C Platts when it was C Platts and Son. I would love to get a hold of one of them. So when you look at those knives, you know, that's just the way I collect. So a lot of times I only have a few knives, or sometimes only one representing a company. That Northfield, I think, is the only Northfield I have that's original. And some of these knives, like I have 3 Russell knives, and I do have some other knives from these companies and Bokers and things like that in different drawers or different places. And so, like usually my pen knives like this are in a penknife drawer. but I keep this with the collection of Shipley knives. I don't know why. I guess I only have so much room in my penknife drawer, but this is a really nice knife, and that's probably why I separated it. This is a little penknife from Shipley, pre World War II, and this knife right here is the only one I have. I think this is a Holub, so I think it's the only Holub I have. I don't really collect those, but I just wanted an example of a Holub. And
Tell me this,
so,
Michael.
yeah.
Tell me, when you're going looking on the secondhand sites or whatever, do you have things in mind, or do you just go on and look? Like, do you have a list that you'll be looking for, or do you just have a look and see what's there?
Well, see, that's the problem. So, yeah, a lot of times, especially when I'm buying new knives, I know what I'm looking for, and then
Right.
I'll start seeing other knives, and I'll end up not even getting what I was looking for. But in the last night, I couldn't sleep real well. I was up real early in the morning, and I had case on my mind. I wanted to get another case, and so I looked at a bunch of different websites, Chicago Cutlery, a couple other ones, White Hills, and didn't really see anything I wanted. And I was telling him before when we talked that I like, rather than having 10 Barlows that are different scale colors, I like to have 10 different patterns,
Yeah.
at least one representative of each pattern. And so I'm still building my case collection. In my case collection, when we get to that drawer, I only have 2 trappers, and I think I have 2 Barlows, but one of the Barlows is 2 blade, one is 1 blade. The rest of them are all different patterns. And so that's what I try to do, is get a complete collection of something a company offered. And last night I picked up that 113 pattern, which was just unbelievable. I found it for $60.
Was
Mint
that
condition.
was that Case's version of the boy's knife?
Is there what?
Was that Case's version of the boy's knife? The 13?
I think they actually made a boy's knife. So a boy's knife was an inexpensive knife, and the Barlow really became the boy's knife. So a lot of times people bought Barlows and gave them to kids because a lot of them were 3 3/8, and that's kind of small for your hand. So we like to collect those, but back in the day, the Barlow was really a boy's knife, and men preferred knives that were 3.5 inches or up, and so that's the story on that. A boy's knife was any knife that was inexpensive. A lot of times they were like that knife you showed. I doubt that IXL was a 10-cent knife, but the 10-cent knives were really cheap. They were light. They were made out of metal, and they were boys' knives. Often they had boys' knife or something like that on them.
Yeah, see, I always take the boy's knife. Now, although this is a Barlow, but the 15 pattern or the 15 or 14, it's a pattern at GEC. Now, they also do ones with just a small, it's just a jackknife with a small bolster, and I call that a boy's knife as well.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a small knife, 3 3/8 for a man to be using. It's not that men didn't use them; it's just not a really worker knife. What you see a lot of is the jackknives, right? So the 1 and 2 bladed jackknives, is what guys used a lot in different patterns,
Uh-huh.
But there's not a lot of difference. Let me show this knife again.
I mean, the GEC 15 pattern is 3.5 inches, which is a wee bit longer, and it just fits I can just get a full grip on it.
Yeah, this knife is 3.5 inches long. So not a lot of difference between that and a Barlow,
Uh-huh. That's exactly the same size as the GC 15 Barlow.
Yeah, 3.5 inches. So I don't know. I mean, all these knives, I think 3.5 inches was a normal knife.
That's a nice knife now.
For this one right here, I think it's 3 3/8. This Barlow. Yeah, this is 3 3/8. Russell Barlow.
Yeah.
Probably, pen knives were given to young men, early.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to say, in my day, I carried a penknife in my youth and my teenage years every day, but it wasn't called EDC. It was just having a pen in your pocket. But once I joined the Navy, I got out of the habit of doing that because it just wasn't the thing to do.
Yeah, I carried a fixed blade. I can't remember what it was. It was probably a Case bird and trout knife, but it had 4-inch blade on it, and that's what I carried around when I was tromping around.
Yeah, I had an old sailor's knife, the big heavy metal ones,
Yeah,
which I carried for years upon years. It was such a great big knife. And but we would have had little belt sheaths, belt knives that were dirt cheap. They were literally in the shillings when I was buying them. That's
some
nice.
difference. Yeah, that's a Boker.
Uh-huh.
This is a Boker USA though. So the Boker USAs are from here down
Uh-huh.
all the way. The old ones are really well made.
Uh-huh.
The ones up here are not really well made. And then from here up all the way around is Boker Soljan, and of course those are just fantastic.
Yeah, I like
the view on this knife. It's a Boker and just beautiful stag on it.
Uh-huh.
It's a Boker Soljan.
I've only got
here's another thing. These knives, this is another club knife. And so I don't know why, but these club knives go for a really good price, right?
Yeah. And it's just simply, I don't think they made many of them.
Yeah, I mean, I bought that for $65.
Oh, that's a bargain.
And nobody wanted it, So, yeah. And then, like that Case knife last night, it's a club knife. I bought it for $60. The other Case knives they were selling were $200 and $300, and from the same era. You know what I mean? It's just like for some reason the club knives don't sell. I don't get that, but
well, they definitely sell over here, and you wouldn't have got it for that price.
Yeah, I've got a number of club knives, and they're cool. I enjoy them.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you very rarely see over here for sale, and it's something like I would always be. I'm unlike you. I don't go on Etsy or my Facebook groups looking for anything in particular. I just love going on open-minded. Let's see what's out there. And I do a lot of trading as well, which I find is a great way to get knives, because a lot of the people that are selling the older slip joints have usually moved over to the modern knives, and they have no real interest in them anymore. And so you get them at a good price. I mean, I've got one. I don't even think I've shown it on the channel. This is a second-hand one that I got, and it's probably been my nicest Shatton Morgan. Look at that bone.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That bone is just unbelievable. Look at that.
They're great knives.
It's unusual. I love the sheep's foot on it. Really beautiful knife.
Six Gunslinging said it's a law you have to carry a K-bar. So I got a few K-bars. I don't have a lot of K-bars in my collection. I don't know why. I think you can't find the older ones. They're hard to find, and I tend to like pre-1940 knives. But I do have. I think I have 4 or 5 K-bars that are in pretty good shape, and I like them.
Yeah, it's one I haven't got yet, I have to say.
Now I've got a lot of Utica and cut masters, but I don't know why I didn't pick up a lot of K bars. I still look for them. I'm always looking. So if I
Yeah,
see a good deal and a good knife, I just jump on it. This
I
knife
got a,
right here is oh, let me get back to my camera. Go ahead, Stephen.
no, go ahead there. You show yours. I'll just get mine that I got. Oh,
Um, this is a early Van Camp knife, and it has the original hardware marking on it. That's A.B. Campbell was the hardware that produced these Van Camp knives that were made by other people. Some people say Van Camp actually made a few of these. I don't know, but this is, you don't see a lot of A.B. Caldwell knives.
I've heard of
They're always like Van Camp, So when I see something like that, I'll jump right on it. This is a Van Camp right
oh,
here.
love that. That's not bone, is it?
This is celluloid.
Celluloid, yeah. It looks beautiful though.
Yeah, it's in good shape. Good knife. Look at
Do
that.
you separate your celluloid knives from your?
I do,
Yeah.
but I've never had one decompose on me either.
Nope. Yeah, neither have I.
One
Neither have
thing
I.
is if you're going to get a celluloid knife, you don't want one with irregular cracks on it. So you can have one with cracks on the pin, but you want to look and make sure that the scales are perfect on it. And if they're perfect now, they're probably going to stay perfect. I have had people tell me that they bought a perfect one and it disintegrated on them. So I don't know what to say about that. All I know is I have a ton of them. I've been collecting for 10 years. I never had one decompose on me. But the ones I buy are in good shape. I think that's one key right there when you get them. And I used to avoid them, but I started thinking about that, and I'm like, wait a minute, this knife is 70 years old. So if it's lasted 70 years, it's going to last till I die. And so I started buying them, and I keep them separate. I keep some desiccant in with them,
Yeah.
but I've never had them decompose on me. So we'll
Uh,
see. You know.
it's funny. We're both military. I was Royal Navy, and you
Mhm.
were a Marine. You
Mhm.
were our swimmers. And I last year I don't really collect military stuff. I have to say it's not something that struck a chord with me to collect.
Mhm.
But last year, two knives, bayonets that hit me right up the face was this is the old original bayonet I would have had with my SLR.
Yeah.
This had been re fixed up beautifully. Whoever done it just done it exactly the way they came, even with the blackened down to the blade. This was the one that I used in rifle. The SLR was the rifle I had when I was in, and then I got this. This is the first time my wife said, "No, you have to get this." Look at this.
Oh
This
yeah.
this is an officer's one from the training school, the officers' training school in the UK, and this was about the time of the Second World War.
Yeah.
But the name on it, all the officers' swords, they had so many different markings on them. There's about 4 or 5 different markings, and you have to have them all for it to be authentic. But they also had their name on them. And this officer was called Anderson, which is the same name as me. And it came up, and I literally just turned on, and it came on straight away for a price. I thought, oh, I've got to have it. But I didn't. I just recently spent my budget. But my wife seen it when I showed her. I accidentally showed it to her, and she said, "No, get it. That's definitely for you." And I was really chuffed to get this because it's in mint condition.
Yeah.
This hasn't been touched at all. The only sad thing is it didn't get a sheath with it.
I've got an original Mark Mark III Mod 1 bayonet. and that's pretty cool. Jesse McJames just sent me this. It's
Okay.
a Cattaraugus 225Q. This was
Oh,
their Bowie or K-bar style knife issued. A lot of the Navy's got this right
uh,
here. And man, that's so cool, you know?
that looks as though that leather might even soak up some juice and come back to life a bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I don't know. I always struggle with knives like these because I don't think the collector value is real high on this because the blade has some deterioration, but I like it. I like the character of that knife. It just I don't
Uh,
know, just speaks to me. But
yeah.
I'll start out, fixing the handle. I'll soak it, loosen that leather up,
Uh,
and then I may clean the blade up some, and then I have to decide whether I want to just clean it. I can clean it up brand new, but
uh,
I don't think I'll do that, and I don't
oh, I
even know
would,
whether I'll touch it.
yeah,
Because I struggle with things like that. I like having the vintage character, all that
yeah.
character a knife has.
Yeah, I think I'd be like you. I'd clean it up, but I wouldn't. I would just make it secure that it's not going to rust anymore as such. Clean it up a little bit, and then just stick plenty of coating on it, and just keep it for a collection piece.
Yeah. Randy's on here now.
My goodness,
Uh,
Randy, how do you get round everybody? I don't know. He watches some channels. That man,
yeah,
it's
I do
amazing.
too. I try to hit everybody's channel, but I can't do it in,
I
you know,
I physically wouldn't have the time in the week because I'm subscribed to that many channels. I just literally wouldn't have time to do it. I try to sort of rotate and get everybody every now and then. But I
yeah.
mean, there's Randy, and then Big Red's another one. They just seem to get to so many different channels.
We have my Japanese friend on here. I don't know how to say your name, um, but
Woo,
is it? I think it's we.
woo,
You see it?
yeah. I'm
I
going
like
for
to watch
woo.
his channel. He's got a channel. He does a lot of stuff, cooking, stuff like that, and working with knives. I like to watch his channel.
Well, I'm going to write his name down and go and follow him tonight because I have never heard of him. So
A U
it's OU, is
U
it not?
Y U AUYU.
It's OU, is it not?
Oh, whoop, he's
I think it's
gone.
OU.
Hold on. Let me find him and it's OUYU.
Yeah. And is that his channel name?
I don't know, but
I'll, well,
you
if you can,
you
I'll
can
try
try
it.
looking it up. If you can't look
Yeah.
it up, I'll send it to you.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty cool. He's got a cool channel. Really cool guy too.
Yeah, I love getting different channels. Do you know what I found myself watching a lot? I don't know whether anybody else in the chat does. I love these bits where people get an old home and do it up. And I mean like a wooden home that are made by, trees. And
Yeah,
I love watching them doing them programs. I could
yeah,
sit and watch them for hours.
yeah,
Just the talent of some people. You get some young lad, he's only maybe 21, and he takes on building this house for him and his girlfriend. Uh, the skill, and he's never been a tradesman, and they
yeah.
just have this. Oh, I just love them.
Well, building a house it's not really hard if you know some basic principles, but
That's the trouble. I know no basic principles. Hello, saying that I done labouring for quite a few years. I have to say, when I come out of the navy, I
you,
enjoyed that immensely.
you watch those channels with uh like they're building a place out in the woods, shelter
I
out in the woods.
just love them.
Yeah,
Love them.
yeah, it's really cool. I
I think
watched a guy. I can't remember who it was. It was a long time ago, but a guy was building a house the old way, right?
uh,
And he was harvesting, huge logs, and he was able to get those logs up on a wagon all by himself, right? He made ramps, he used leverage, and it was just remarkable watching him move those logs around by himself.
Uh,
And then he would clean them off, of course, and form them, rough cut,
uh,
and man, it was wild watching that. But
I seen a boy. I was a Polish boy. He built a 5-bedroom house out of logs, a log house, and exactly the same. That he had huge bits of tree, but his ability to find the right way to get that just tree trunk right up on the top of this. It was a huge big building. It wasn't just a little hut. This was massive. And again, knots. If you can tie knots and learn how leverage works,
yeah,
there's nothing much you can't do.
yeah. I don't know, Radar. I watch a guy from up in Alaska. He's got a real big beard. He's an older guy, and he has his wife, and he's been out surviving in Alaska for 30 years. So I watch him. I don't remember what his name is though.
Yeah, I follow a couple from Alaska. There's a couple of girls called the Van Wives, and they're two pretty young girls, and they lived in a van and just traveled around the world in a van and made money up being a YouTuber.
Yeah,
but they now bought a place up in Canada, in the wilds of Canada, and they bought an old wreck, and now sort of redone it. And it's beautiful. But you see the amount of companies that back them and the things that they got. I mean, these solar panel, it would run a small town, the solar panels they have and the setup they have, the amount of money these channels can get, it's just fantastic.
yeah. I wanted to do that, when I was a young man. I wanted to go up to Alaska. I wanted to live in the wild. And so I spent, it's so funny, man. I had every now and then, I'll do an EDC video or something like that. And I had some guy make a comment one time about something. And, I looked at his channel, and all of this guy's stuff looked like it was off the internet. And it was just, it was like he didn't know what he was talking about. And he was saying, you need this gear, you need that gear. And I started when I was 16 years old, going out in the woods with no training, right?
Yeah.
My father was a fisherman. He taught me how to fish. He didn't teach me how to hunt, trap, or any of that stuff. He taught me how to use a knife, and how to use a firearm. But beyond that, he was not a woodsman. And so I would go out and live off the land for 2 weeks at a time. And all of that was from self-training. You didn't have the internet back then. And then, I spent my life out in the woods, going out. I spent a career in the Marine Corps. And it just cracks me up sometimes, the comments that people have.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of internet commandos out there,
Yeah. It's like the keyboard warriors, aren't they? It's just
I just let it go,
Yeah.
Now I don't do a lot now. I went out this weekend, but I get out maybe 4 times a year. I'll go on a major camping trip with the family, and then maybe a couple other ones with just me and the wife, maybe one solo one, because I'm just too old anymore, to be tracking around like that. And I have, I've got some medical problems. So,
yeah.
I just can't do it anymore. But
the most that I'll do now is me and Justin are doing our outside broadcast this year, and there'll be day camps. We'll go early in the morning and stay there till tea time, cook a meal, muck about with knives, test a few knives that we've got and we haven't tested yet.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. That was another reason for the wee axe and fixing it up. It's another one to take and use.
Yeah, I mean, when we went out in the woods, we didn't take all this crap they sell to you now, and you don't need it. And that's where I come from a lot. That's my opinion on super steels. I have super steel. I like it. I like super steel. It works. It keeps a knife sharper, but you don't need it. And we never had it. And in the people that settled the United States and in South America and India, they didn't have super steels. They used carbon steel and just all that crap. It's good to have, but it's not. Yeah, it's not necessary. You
No.
know.
And I think especially as a knife person, there's so many now, and there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not putting anybody down, but there's so many now that I see coming on, and they've never used 1095, they've never used 420,
Yeah.
because when they came along, they're automatically told, don't use them, they're crap.
Yeah.
And that's what they hear. And if it's on the internet, it seems to have to be true.
Yeah.
But so that sort of, it's quite sad that they never get the chance to go through that and realize how good they are, and you
Yeah.
can sharpen them in 30 seconds. You know, that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, I did that video on HCR 13. I didn't
Yeah.
know a lot about the steel. I did a lot of research on it, and the more I researched it, it was like a rabbit hole. I kept, like when I hear somebody say something that's not gospel for me, I want to know, okay, if I can verify that, right? So I learned that very early in the knife community. You, especially on forums, you hear guys saying a lot of stuff that Uncle Jed said, and Uncle Jed don't know his butt from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And so I learned to, I want to get at least 2 or 3 different sources before I go out there and I talk about something,
Yeah.
but it is HCR thing. 13 is a good
Absolutely
steel, and if you think about it, did you ever have that steel break?
Never.
I've never had it break on me. It's easy to sharpen. Is it the best? No, but it's a pretty good steel.
That's an A.G. Russell. He made
Yeah.
his name on HCR, and he didn't have to change.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing. I mean, for a pocket knife, HCR 13's fantastic.
It is, because it's incredibly tough. So
Yeah.
the HCR 13 is actually in the top of the toughness range. So it's a great steel for a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Is it the best steel for a hunting knife? I don't know. I've seen. I don't know whether you know who Nuttin Fancy is, but I saw a video where he took a HCR 13 out. He thought it was going to be crap, and he couldn't break it. Right, so he put it through his trials, and which are pretty good, and it didn't break. He's like, wow, this is good stuff.
Yeah, it's another thing. I've never wanted to try and break a knife, but I do like the fact that people take them and use them hard. I love seeing a knife being used hard. I can remember the Ganzos when they first came. I got Ganzos, and it's in 440C. And the boys done torture tests on them Ganzos in 440C. And they were amazed at how good they were, because everybody was running them down. Because back a few years ago, Chinese knives were thought as the devil. Don't touch them. Now everybody has them.
Right.
But we were shunned if you used Chinese knives. But 440C is one of my favorite. Just an all round great steel for the EDC.
So, Kathleen, that's a really complicated question. What is the best way to find a knife in a certain date range? And the reason it's complicated is there's so many different companies that you're talking about, and also different tang stamps. So the best way is to find a knife that has the tang stamp that relates to the date range that you're looking for. Okay, so if you're looking for a knife in 1930, for instance, Challenge Cutlery Company, so they went out of business in 1928. So if you're looking to have a knife in the first part of the 20th century, like 1900 to 1930, Challenge Cutlery Company would be a knife that you'd want to look for, and you can find a knife in that date range. With Case, if you go online, there's a lot of different tang stamps listed. You look for the tang stamp that's from that date range you want to find, and you can find a Case in that date range. They're going to be expensive though. So
I've got knives in my collection, Kathleen, that I collected that are dates that are meaningful for me. Like when I joined the Navy, when I left the Navy, when I got sober, I'm a recovering alcoholic. So, I mean, I've got knives for all them special dates, and it just gives the knife something a wee bit special. I've got my wedding day. I've got a knife that was made then. I mean, just simple little things, not expensive knives, but they're just knives that have a meaning more than what they're worth.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the best way, Kathleen, is just find a company, look in prices guides to knives, and look for a company that went out of business, before 1940, and you're going to find it in that range.
Well,
And then,
1940 to 1950 is a good range. You'll get plenty of companies then.
yeah,
You'll find that quite easily if you have to give a bit of time to it, mind you, but you'll find plenty.
yeah. She says she's looking for something in the 1940 to 1950 range. Cattaraugus went out of business in 1963. A lot of the older knives that you get, like Boker USA, an old Boker USA knife, would be in that range right there.
How long did they
Schrade Walden. So Schrade Walden knives, the tank stamp runs to 73, but a lot of those knives you find, especially the one with black handles, are going to have around the 1950 range in them.
How long did Boker make knives in the USA for? Do you know off the top of your head?
1986, I think they stopped making them.
Do you know when they started?
They started in the late 1900s.
Oh, right. Oh, they went that long. I didn't realize. I've got one knife made in the USA by Boker, but I didn't realize they started that early.
Yeah, so he used got it right here. Where to find it? Man, my mind's fried. Valley Forge, right? So Valley Forge cutlery, he used in the late 1800s, and then by 1909 he controlled the company, and by 1911 he owned the company.
Right.
And began producing knives in America. So the early Valley Forge knives were Boker USA knives. He still imported Soligen knives during that time period.
I'm going to have a look out for Valley Forge now. There's old Farts knives. He just picked up a case from the 1920 to 1940 for $31.
Yeah.
So Kathleen, it's all out there. It's literally, you just have to keep hunting. And it's funny when you actually want a knife, they're the hardest knives to find sometimes. And then you get one, you buy it, and for the next 6 weeks, there's 6 of them come across your path.
That's true. I wonder, especially like on eBay, I'll do a search. You can find very few, and then after I actually have bought a knife, tons of them come up, and I'm thinking, eBay is using your search pattern, and they find more knives.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
It must be something like that, because that has happened to me. I can't tell you how many times.
It's torture, right? It's torture.
Absolutely. But it's fun torture. That is the nice thing about it. It is fun torture. I do enjoy that search. The search is sometimes more than the knife itself when you get it, because I find once I get a knife, then I'm on to the next one. And at the minute, that's what I'm doing. I'm chilling out. I'm not buying, because I got an awful lot of knives there in the last part of last year and the beginning of this year. I bought an awful lot of knives, and some really lovely ones. But I've not used them. I've not carried them. I do my review, and then they go away, and I've always got something else to review. And sometimes you take away your pleasure by just keep buying knives rather than just enjoy them.
I can't stop.
No,
so I can't stop. I mean, I bought this really nice Moore maker. I've been wanting to get a hold of a Moore maker. This is by the way, it is made by Bear & Son, but it is a fantastic knife, right? So Bear & Son did a really good job on this knife. And then I bought this one, and then I bought another one like this. I bought a Sodbuster. I bought this one, which this knife is a Bear & Son. I gave it a pretty bad review, but it's it's grown on me, you know.
It's lovely bone on it.
Yeah, it's okay, right? But it's got some major issues. I don't
Yeah.
know if
I've seen your review, yeah.
they grow on me, but yeah, I mean, it is overall. If you just look at it like this,
Yeah.
you know, it's a good
Yeah.
knife.
Your
It's
review
the
wasn't
little
that
things,
hard.
you know, and it's all the little things about the knife just add up. I don't expect the knife to be perfect, but you know, once you get by past a couple flaws, then you got to start to really question, you know, is it worth what they're asking for it?
Uh-huh.
So I'll buy another queen. You know, I have a number of queen knives that are just fantastic.
Uh-huh.
I'll buy another one. Here's one right here. So this queen is just perfect, you know. It's black mother of pearl and a good knife. So it's made in China though.
Yeah, it's a Rough Rider queen.
So but my
But
criticism
you
on
know,
this with the black lip mother of pearl's not dark enough. But I
uh,
did notice that out of the light, it's a lot blacker. And
but they make fantastic knives.
yeah,
You know, I don't collect them anymore, but I have a collection of them, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
I just don't collect because I've got a nice collection, you know, of them. That's all I need, really.
and that's
Yep.
the castrum that Sherry just bought. You would love that.
That
Look
is
at that
lovely.
curly birch there. It
It
has a
is.
sheen to it. You can't see it because of the lights, but it has this very subtle sheen to it.
It just looks beautiful.
The wood, you know, and man, that's so cool. And it's awesome. Listen to the kick on this. I don't know whether you heard it or not, but
Yeah, yeah, good solid clunk.
it's really, you know,
I'll
that's
tell
like
you,
an 8.
I'll tell you who does great budget knives in that sort of category is Joker. Have you
Yeah,
tried any of the Joker knives?
I have one of them.
Yeah, I've only one now, but I've had a couple in my time, and they've been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. In fact, I got it. Well, sorry, it's up in my bag. I have it packed away for going camping. It's very similar to that, but it's a slip joint. Oh, that was a slip joint as well, wasn't it? Yeah. But it only cost about £20 brand new, and it has olive wood on it, which is beautiful looking. And for
Mm-hmm.
£20, just a super nice, so comfortable.
Yeah, these are expensive, but it's
Oh
interesting
yeah,
history on this
yeah,
guy, right?
yeah.
So this guy grew up in the what's that called? That region of Sweden, Lapland. And the Lapland is like a border of the Arctic. And the boreal forest borders that Arctic circle as it wraps around. So the boreal forest goes all the way into Asia. And he grew up in that area. Uh, that was his playground, right? That's a pretty rough environment. And so he started making knives. And then, you know, that went pretty well. So he eventually had Castrum. But, you know, it's new. It's a new company, like 2010. I think he started his company.
But
So
I think a lot of people forget just how important the European knife community was at the time, especially going back into the centuries, a couple of centuries ago. Their steel making was just unbelievable.
yeah,
They were experts at it before. In fact, they used to import their steel to Sheffield. I mean,
yeah,
the early Sheffield knives were made with their steel. And
yeah,
it's something that's not really talked about enough that the Europeans themselves, it's not just Soligen. There's so many other companies in Europe that have been
yeah,
going for donkey's years.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to close this out. I got a doctor's appointment coming up. So
Well, you'll get confirmed insane.
how'd you know what kind of doctor I'm going to?
I've been there.
What was
I
it?
I when I left the mental hospital when I was getting sober, I had to go to I was the actual building for the alcohol unit was inside a mental hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and when you left it, you got sane wrote on your leaving certificate when you left the hospital after your 6 weeks. So there you go. I
You,
once
you
was.
know, you know what the true sign of an insane person is? They don't really care about anything else, right? So I don't care what other people say. I don't care. I don't care about anything else. I care about what my wife, my kids
Yeah,
say. That's it.
exactly.
And they say, that's a sure sign of insanity because
Insanity is underrated.
you're just not connecting.
Look, thank you very much for those in the channel. I know you had a great chat between yourselves there, and it was lovely to get you joining in. And Kathleen, I hope you get the knife you're looking for. And it's the fun of finding it, Kathleen. Honestly, the fun is just great.
It pays to do your research. So just get you a book and look at some of those tang stamps, and then go at it. You'll slowly learn. You
Do
pick
like
it up.
Paddy does. Go potluck. But you'll have the same mistakes as Paddy has.
Yeah. Just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Take
works.
care. Six Gun Slinging. I'll give you a wee ring later on tonight. I apologize for being absent, and I'll give you a wee ring later on tonight. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you, Michael, for inviting me on. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, glad to have you. I really enjoyed it. And thanks for all of you for checking out the video. I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed a look at the knives. That's one drawer. I've got 20 drawers, and then I got 2 other places I keep my knives. So that's why I can't do it. I can't. People are always asking me, hey, show your whole collection. There's no way. No way. So I'm going to, Patty suggested we do it one drawer at a time. So we'll do that. All right. Thanks again. We'll do it again in another 15 days, I guess.
Yeah, that'll do good. Every 2 weeks.
All right. Take care.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Boop, boop, boop.